I can't hear you.
Oh, that's because I was muted. Just testing. I said that's quite the intro. That was quite amazing. Hello, Christopher Hughes.
Hello, Simone Militis. How are you on this fine Global Bars Day?
Oh my goodness, I am awesome. This has been such an incredible day. And I love that I got up at 4:00 this morning to start watching it. So I've missed the first 2 hours. I'll watch that later. And I love that our segment is it okay to ask for more? Considering I'm watching everyone today and it's like, talk about like going into tears of joy and gratitude. And when I look at when I first found Access, it was 21 years ago. It was probably about 10 months or 11 months after Dane came along. And, you know, a lot of the classes that we used to create, we were in 4 countries. Like we were in 4 countries and we didn't even have a website or an email address. And I remember standing in a class with Dane and there was all these older women in the class looking at Gary, like just going, oh my God, can I be the new Mrs. Gary Douglas, you know? And we were like, and I looked at Dane and I went, these tools are amazing. There needs to be more people here, like of all walks of life and all ages. And I remember standing at the back of the class and and this is what I like, is it okay to ask for more? Absolutely.
No.
The things that I asked for was one, that every single person would know that access consciousness exists so that they can choose it. They don't have to choose it, but so that they can choose it. And number 2 is that every single person would know when the next class was on, because I got that so many people, even though they'd been to one class, they wanted to just go to all the classes because each and every class is so different. And I look at today and holy shit, it's like watching everyone around the world. It's like, what an honor to be here and to be playing with all these people around the world. I'm like, wow, it's incredible. So, and thank you for being here with me today and being here with each other. And I know a little bit more about you, I think, than others do, maybe. And a lot of people I know look at you, Chris, and, you know, you wear these fabulous clothes, you've got these fabulous jewelry, you're a very successful access consciousness facilitator, you're also very successful in working, you know, you're owner of the Antique Guild with a few of us and what you've established and created there and worldwide. It's like Right Voice for You facilitator. There's so much that you've sort of bitten into and chewed and made it yours, and it keeps growing and expanding. Now, there's a story that you told me when you grew up in, what's it called again? Not Saskatchewan. What's the smallest
Yes.
town?
Well, Saskatchewan is the province that I grew up in, and the town is Regina.
Regina, that's right. I always remember it rhymes with vagina.
Yes.
Regina.
It's the city that rhymes with fun.
Says the gay man. I love it. Anyway. One of the stories that you told me, like recently you said, we were having a conversation, you said, wow, I've become a millionaire from using access consciousness tools.
Yep.
And I went, wow, so have I. And I was talking to Dane and he went, so have I. And there's so many people who have. And you grew up, one of the stories you were telling me that I heard just recently was that, you know, at one point you'd say to your mum, what's for dinner? And was it air soup?
It was windy pudding, which meant there was nothing. And the next day we had air pie, which also meant there was nothing.
So you grew up. So can you talk a little bit about like that? But the piece that I would love you to like explore with everyone here is one thing you said is you knew that was not your reality.
Yeah, absolutely, always. I grew up in a place with a family who no one had. It was rare to find someone who'd finished high school, let alone anything beyond that, or created much of a life in terms of wealth and prosperity. And no matter that circumstance and no matter that environment and family, I always knew didn't matter. I always knew you could reach for more, have more, choose more, be more. And anything that ever came up or came across my path that I was interested in, I never took anyone's no as real. I always went, let's do it. Let's go. Like when I wanted to go to university, I wanted to go to a school that happened to be the most expensive school in the country, and it was far from home. And In my family, and it was to study singing. And my grandmother's point of view was, well, why do you need to do that? You could learn to sing in the church. And regardless of having no support or even the energetic contribution of them going, yeah, you can do it, I was always like, no, I can choose and achieve anything.
So you mentioned that even if people around you say no, you still keep choosing. Now, you have a few stories about this that you do in some of your classes, and what if you're asking for more and someone says no, it's like, what exercise do you give people to do? There's a phone call coming in.
Someone's ringing. Well, I've noticed over the years, facilitating people or just looking at what people are willing to choose, they will quite often not choose or are afraid to choose because they assume they're going to receive rejection or someone's going to tell them no, they can't have something. So I started doing this exercise in class. I haven't actually used it in a while, but I get people to go out into the world during lunch at class or something and approach 3 people that they've never met before, or not never met, but aren't in the class, and ask them for 3 things that they think will be refused. And I will never forget, I was in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and a woman said, I know exactly how to get a no. And she called her ex-husband. And she said, darling, when we divorced, I got 1 house and you got 3. Can we even the score? And he said, yes, absolutely. Let's call the lawyer on Monday.
And she got a house.
And she got a house that was there waiting for her. The universe has so much for us. Like that house was there waiting for her to say, can I have that? And as soon as she was willing to ask for it, with speed and ease, it was there.
Yeah, and I would like to give you all permission. It's like you're allowed to ask for more. Somewhere in this reality, people project at you that, haven't you got enough? And it's like, I remember at one stage when, I had what is, I guess, considered my mother's definition of happiness was to be in a relationship and have a house. And then I kept traveling and I kept asking for more and more and more. And she said, haven't you got enough? And I was like, well, what's enough? It's like, to me, it's like, this planet is friggin' amazing. It's like, let's live, like, let's experience absolutely everything and have so much fun and so much joy. And if that shows up with more things, I mean, you and I are both investors in a Castle Borgoni in Italy. And it's like, if people in Australia are like, what? You own a castle in Italy? It's like, yeah, I do. And then
horses in Costa Rica?
As one does. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, so what if you never, ever stopped asking for anything? And look, one of the tools, I was worldwide coordinator of Access Consciousness for 18 years. And when I first started out, I was like, how do I access the world? Like, I would like this to grow. I would like this to expand. And access, is not linear. Like, we don't sit down and say, right, what's the next move for this year? Like, what's the budget? What countries are we going to, etc. We literally listen to the whispers, which is a lot of asking for more, listening to the whispers, and then choosing and looking at where the demand is. And I was like, I can't seem to access the world. And I lived part-time in Australia and part-time in California. And I spoke to Gary Douglas about it. And he said, it's literally like a muscle. Like, you have to expand your awareness around the entirety of the globe and see, where is your energy required today? So before I get out of bed, and this is a great tool, if you want to ask for more, expand your business, your joy, it's like, the ease in your life, all of that. I used to lie in bed and I would just get this image of the entirety of the planet and then ask, okay, so where is my energy required today? And then, weirdly, I mean, that's how one of the places I met you. It's like, South Korea and Italy were the 2 places that popped. And it's like, I'm sorry, if you're creating a business based on linearity, you don't go US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. I think we'll go to South Korea and Italy next. It doesn't make sense. But here's the thing, anything that you're asking for, it's not about making sense. It's not about going logical. It's literally about tapping into the energy of what it is that you would like to create for your life. Like, Chris, I love hearing your stories about that. you just going, no, this is not my reality. I'm choosing something greater. I'm choosing something different here. And you can ask, and you can't ask for too much.
Nope. And it doesn't have to just be things or like wealth in a physical sense. Like, I love your story about building that muscle of tapping into an awareness of the whole world. Because look, Simone, since you've come along, how many countries is Access in now? You give that list you could count on one hand when you started, and look at, because in a large part because of you, my brilliant friend, it's all over the world.
Thank you. And
because that's you willing to ask for more.
I'm going to do a little plug for Gary's book here, another one that he did, Beyond the Utopian Ideals. And there's this one line in it that I read yesterday, and it was about, are you willing to receive the miracle that you are? Like, are you willing to receive the miracle that you are? Like, I have to acknowledge that I've been such a major contribution in the growth of Access, but so have you. And it's like, and a major contribution in the growth of consciousness here on the planet. And what if everyone out there, every single one of you has something different to offer? Every single one. Like, not
absolutely
sitting there.
I have to say as well, I'm one of the mentors in a group that you have on Getting Out of Debt Joyfully. It's a 10-month program. I think we're like already 7 or 8 months in. And there's a woman in my mentor group who came along and joined us. She'd only ever heard a podcast about Access Consciousness.
Yeah.
And from there, she read your book. And we had our weekly meeting last week, and she started bawling. And she said, because of Simone and because of Access Consciousness and because of you, I have added things to my life that I never thought I could. I never thought I had space for. I never thought I had the capacity for. And to me, that's what success is. That's what gives me joy. That's what motivates me to continue to choose and continue to create. It's like, yes, how many people's lives can we change by us being willing to choose something greater?
Yeah. Thank you. I love it. And one of the questions here that because we got Liz sent some questions, which obviously I've just gone a bit ad lib here, is, have you ever been called selfish for desiring more? And
yes.
Yeah. And actually not being called it so much as being looked at, like the projections. But Dane was talking earlier today and about fear. And he said, I've got 2 words, fuck it. And I want to give the same 2 words for if someone projects at you that you're being selfish or that you have too much or etc. And like Chris said, this is not about things. Like, I once had someone say to me, will you stop being so happy? And I was like, no. And the person actually started laughing with me because he realized how insane that sounded. But I was like, no, I'm not going to stop being happy for anyone. And it's like, what if that was asking for?
I had that 2 days ago. I had a woman 2 tables down at a cafe stand up and say, I'm leaving because of you. She said, your laughter is so shrill and your voice is making me so uncomfortable because you're being so obnoxious with how loud and happy you are. And she left and she went to the manager of the cafe and she said, I live in an apartment building of 38 floors and 8 apartments per floor. And I'm going to tell everyone not to come here.
Because there's too much.
Yes. And the manager of the cafe looked at her and she said, ma'am, if any of those people are anything like you, they're not welcome in our cafe.
Oh, yeah. I love that story. That's brilliant. So I know that you and I could talk all day, and I can feel the people in the background going, they better start like winding this up. So
wrap it up.
I want to ask you another question on this. It's a very formal question that they've written here. On this 9th annual Global Bars Day, how have the bars contributed to you asking and receiving more, Mr. Christopher Hughes?
Do you know what? I don't know. They just have.
Je ne sais pas.
Like, the very first time I had my bars run, I thought, well, I don't know. It was relaxing, I guess, kind of. Nothing really seemed to occur. But then I went from that bars session to an art opening. And I found it the most uncomfortable experience in my life because everything was so much more intense. The just projections of the people, the intensities of the energies of whatever they were being, the judgments that I could perceive were just way more full on. It opens you up to receiving more, which expands your awareness, which gives you a bigger playground to play in.
Yeah, and I would say, I was just getting my bars run before by Sarah Watt, and I said, you know, it's palpable. You cannot deny the joy and the happy in every single person that's coming on here throughout this, you know, 9th annual Global Bars Day, and the way they talk about it. Like you can't make that joy and that ease just, that's not acting. That is like, and to see that many people in the world have that much sense of peace and joy is fabulous. And I want to say too, it's like watching like someone like Anna's story in Saudi Arabia. I was like, oh my God, seriously? I was like bawling. And it made me also want to travel so much, like looking at all these places, and I was like, I've got to get to Brazil, I've got to get to China, I've got to get to here, Saudi, da 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 da, like this whole thing. It was like this energy of not stopping. And when I notice so much when I get my bars, if I'm like funky, if I've got this weird energy, or if I'm like, it's like, if you have that in your world, like you're contracting, it's not you. It's that simple. It's not you. All that head chatter going on, not you. So when you get your bars run, what I notice is this, and then you get to access something entirely different. You get to access that space that the universe is just going here. Like the universe doesn't sleep. It's like, hey, I'm opening these doors. You want to come? You want to play? And you keep shutting them when you go to that trauma, that drama, those distractor implants, that like, oh, that anger, frustration, etc., rather than just going, yeah, I'm in, let's go. So I would like to invite you all to ask for way more than what you think you deserve and what you've been told you're allowed to ask for. It's like, there is no, you know, not asking for permission here. Let's go. And if we are all asking to create a different future here, what else is possible? It's like, God damn, it's like, this is our world. Let's grab it by the sides and let's go. Let's have way too much fun. Yes.
And I've got a tip. When you're looking at your ask, if it feels naughty and too much fun and like it probably shouldn't be allowed, it's a good start.
I like that. So start naughty. Oh,
yeah.
I like that. That's good for a Sunday here in Australia. Let's start naughty with our ask. Okay, I'm pretty sure that we've got to wind it up now. So, Mr. Christopher Hughes, it's always an honor playing with you. And everybody out there, just thank you so much. The translators was actually, just thank you so much, guys. You just made me roar when you keep seeing all you guys coming on there. It's like, what a gift. From 4 countries to this, OMG. Thank you. So thanks, everybody, and I'll see you a little bit later. Mwah. Bye-bye.
Ciao.